Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the YMAO Podcast. This is episode 16. My name is Joemer, and if you're new, then this is where I yap enough where you either fall asleep or you learn something new. Except today, I don't know if you're going to learn anything new. I think it's another session where I'm going to be just taking my time, trying to relax and de-stress. I think doing podcasts on the weekend definitely feel like very draining. It feels very tiring. And I'm trying to find a way to make it more enjoyable, to make it feel like it's less like work, and to kind of just keep up with doing the live stream every night. And I just feel like I'm not tired. I do like the podcast format. I feel like I would do better if I brought people in, so maybe I might try bringing more people in. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like really tired. I feel like there's a reason for it though this time. Like yesterday, I felt like I was tired just because I did a lot of work. This time for lunch earlier today, I had shrimp, and I am allergic to shrimp poop, and we didn't clean the shrimp, and I had two choices. I could either just eat the shrimp and get hives, or I could not eat shrimp and eat something else. But I love shrimp, and I ended up eating it, and I ended up taking Benadryl afterwards, which is an allergy pill, but it's supposed to be for nighttime. And I pretty much took the pills, continued working in the middle of the day, and then realized that I was getting really tired, and I was wondering why I was so locked in, but I was starting to get more and more tired, and it turns out that it was the medicine. And yeah, I just started like falling asleep, and I slept for I think an hour, and I woke up and I was still tired. And I had a dinner for a friend going to college, and I was tired throughout that. I was just really out of it, and just really, really exhausted, and I feel like I pushed myself too much again. This time though, it feels a little bit better pushing myself. I feel like I'm not super burnt out. It kind of just feels like I'm tapped out for the day, and I think I've been doing well to feel tapped out at the end of every day. I never feel like I can do more. And I'm trying to acclimate to that. I'm trying to acclimate to being able to do more, being able to be able to have energy for my projects. And I think I'm trying to figure that out, trying to be better about everything. On top of all this stuff that I was doing, I had a really locked in morning. I was super focused, and so off the gate I was having a really productive day. And when I went down to have said lunch, which gave me hives, I ended up looking out the window and saw that I saw my normal scenery. I usually have windows of my house that I look out of, and I saw the normal trees, the normal flowers that I usually see. But for some reason, the silence just hit me a lot more today. I just felt really calm and a little bit detached from everything. It felt like I was experiencing like an out of body experience, like I was kind of watching myself. And I don't know why, I don't know how to explain it. It just felt super calming, and it felt like I didn't have to worry about anything, and it felt really relaxing. And yet at the same time, it felt uncomfortable because I never had a feeling like that before. I didn't know if I should be happy or sad. It just felt kind of numbing. Like it kind of felt like I didn't really know what to do with all the silence. It felt like I had voices in the back of my head all the time, worrying and panicking about what I had to do for the next day, or how I'm supposed to be working so I could make sure that everything would be okay. And for some reason today, a switch went off, and I felt like everything was okay no matter what I did. If I did things bad, if I did things good, everything was going to be okay. And it felt like I finally believed my words, because I've said that to myself a bunch of times, that things are going to be okay, that things are going to work out, that life is going to provide things. And I said it in the past to bring comfort to myself, I think. I think that I brought it up to myself and tried to have an approach of faking it till I make it. And it didn't feel like I was faking it anymore, which seems really nice. It saying it out loud just makes me feel happy about where I am. And I feel like I couldn't really understand if I was happy earlier this day, or really understand my feelings behind it. It almost felt, I think it felt uncomfortable because I was always so wary about things going bad for so long, that this time when things were finally relaxed and quiet, I didn't have that feeling of panic, or that feeling like this isn't over, things are gonna still go bad. Like some problem is going to happen, because life always gives problems. And so for lots of my life, I always felt scared that another problem was going to pop up, and that I should be prepared for that problem. And that type of lifestyle just often made me feel super restricted, and made me feel like I couldn't live my life, because if I did, then things would happen when I turned around, like turned my back, And it felt like, I guess for the past month or two, that's what I've been doing. I've been exploring a lot of different things that I want to do, making choices that I wouldn't normally make, and just generally exploring New York as a whole. And I feel like it has just made things, I felt like it ended up validating some feelings and reaffirming some thoughts about how things are okay now. I think that's what the past month or two was like. Let me try to put myself, it felt like, I almost felt like maybe part of me wanted to make trouble, or make drama, or make issues happen, so that I could see if things, like, if shit hit the fan, would shit like fly everywhere, all over the walls and the ceilings, and it would take forever to clean up. And two things happened. One, like, nothing really, no drama really happened, or no issues got created, because like, creating problems like that don't really last that long unless you're like really instigating it, and I wasn't. It almost felt like I was kind of like testing the waters and seeing if the water was cold. It's kind of like it threw a little bit at the ceiling fan, and then was wondering if shit was gonna go flying everywhere, or if shit was gonna generate from being on the fan for so long. I don't know. This is a horrible metaphor, but I feel like I was just testing the waters for a really long time, for the past month or two, to see if life was really peaceful, or if life was really okay enough for me to be able to explore more of the world, or to explore thoughts, or to pursue things without having to worry about my family or the people around me. And I think I'm finally ready for that. I feel like a lot of people share this sentiment, having to put yourself aside so that you could take care of your family. Lots of people that have the immigrant story, or who are first generation Americans, have this story. And I guess if I had something to say to the younger version of myself, the person who didn't really know a lot of information, like, I feel like I know so much more than I did back then, just about America, about the education system and stuff. So if I had any advice, I would probably say at the moment to just keep pushing on, and that life was going to get better. It seems so cliche and it seems so corny, but I think, at least for me, just telling myself that things were going to get better in life was enough for me to at least have a belief that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean? I feel like if I didn't tell myself that, I would have constantly just kind of felt like I was in a dark tunnel and kind of felt like I didn't really know where I was going or know if there was ever like an ending. And granted, I ended up doing a lot of things that I've been wanting to do my entire life, taking care of my family, being able to support myself, paying off my student loans. Like all of these things are supposed to take a majority of my life, you know? My student loans are supposed to take 15 years. Helping my family is supposed to be somewhere around 15, 20 years. And it's so crazy that life can change so drastically, and it can change so fast where you just don't recognize who you are or the things around you in a year. And I think this year I'm trying to, or at least to end the year and into next year, because it's in 4 months. I think that I'm trying to step into this energy a little bit more, step into my goals a little bit more, and really just kind of find the passion to pursue things again. Something that I've learned about was that goals or motivation is usually driven by two things. Psychologically, it's either driven by wanting to avoid or run away from a fear, or walking towards a reward. And I phrase it that way because lots of times, and even psychologically, a lot of the scarier things, a lot of our fears are a lot of times a greater motivator than looking for rewards or pleasure. And mainly that's because of our primal instinct to survive. A lot of our fears kind of strike and create a lot of chemicals in our body that are related to our fight or flight. And so a lot of the motivation comes more urgently, comes at a quicker spike, and helps push us to do better a lot quicker. And it's great and all to rely on this part of motivation, this kind of motivation that's based off of insecurities and fears. But if you're really going towards progress or being productive, eventually those kinds of motivations end up not lasting long term. Eventually, if you keep on improving and you keep on being productive, you're not going to have any more fears or insecurities, or you're going to have very little of them. And for the little insecurities and fears that are still with you, they're kind of with you because you can't really get rid of them. Like, for example, if you have a fear that you'll never have money again, that fear may be with you your entire life, just because money doesn't grow on trees. Like, it's always going to deplete, and one day if you do enough of nothing or spend enough money, you're going to have no money. So some fears stay, but lots of times they don't stay long enough to motivate you, especially when your life gets better. Like, I find that a lot of people rely on avoiding fears, like, avoiding being jobless, avoid having no money, like those type of fears, in order to motivate themselves to pursue a career or to do things to be productive. And then when they improve their lives and their lives get better, they become complacent and they stay stagnant, and they kind of just stay in the same spot until life comes around and the economy hits, and then people lose their jobs, or people don't have enough money because they spent a little bit too much for a month or two, and then that motivation kicks in again. That negative motivation that comes in, and you become more motivated to do something again, because again, like, your fight or flight kicks in and your survival instincts kick in. And so long term, it kind of creates like this emotional roller coaster where you don't ever get like this peaceful ride where you're going horizontally for a little bit and you're just enjoying the sunrise or the sunset. You get this up and down emotional roller coaster that plays with your feelings, honestly, in my opinion, a little too much. And you may be asking, or maybe I'm asking myself even, what what exactly do you need to do in order to get motivation that's the other way? You know, how, like, if this type of motivation is so bad, then how do I have motivation that's more positive and more long lasting? And this is something that I got from a book called Awaken. I think it's Awaken the Giant Within. It's by Tony Robbins. And he talks a lot about it. Honestly, I might give it another read, but the book's like 400 pages. So I don't know if it's worth rereading. But pretty much, like, the reason why fear and negative motivation is so present in our minds is because that urgency and that scariness stays in our head a lot longer, kind of like how trauma stays in our head a lot longer than positive feelings. And so the best way to have positive motivation is to keep it in your mind all the time. Keep in mind why you're pursuing things and the rewards that come with it. And it's a little bit more intentional, and it seems like a lot more work than when you're relying on your fight or flight, because it isn't innate, like it isn't natural, and it isn't primitive to think about rewards constantly. Like, our brain usually has a feedback loop for rewards, and rewards aren't really given to us unless we put an action in first, right? Like, we don't feel the dopamine of hitting a new personal record in the gym unless we go to the gym in the first place. So yeah, if you want positive motivation, or you want motivation that's longer lasting and less negative for your mental health, then just think about the type of life that you want. Think about the rewards that you are going to get if you were to finish your project or finish whatever you wanted to do, and just really vividly imagine what that life would look like. And if you can't vividly imagine it in your head, I know some people don't necessarily know how to think of things visually in their head, or they're just not, like, that's not in their brain, like, that's not the way that they work, that they're able to visually do it. Then do it in the format that works for you. You know, write it out, talk it out, speak it out, and just kind of listen to yourself say all the things about the rewards or the life that you want, because doing the actions just kind of help you step into why you're doing things in the first place. It kind of brings this immediate awareness, like this immediate awareness to why you're doing things, and it helps bring that motivation to the forefront of your mind, pretty much. I don't know how else to explain it. I just know that I have to do more of that, you know? Because, like, in times like this where I feel really tired, I feel exhausted, and my brain is confused and super dizzy, I feel like I don't have any energy left. But I know if I were to do something else, or something that was more enjoyable, I would find the energy to stay up and do it, I think. And I'm trying to align these goals or these projects that I'm doing. I'm trying to really visualize why I'm doing these things and the life that kind of comes out of it, to make it more enticing. But that's, like, I'm trying to make these goals so enticing that it just makes me want to do it every day. And I think it's not helping that I have multiple different goals that I want to go for. It feels like I'm splitting things up too much, or maybe that variety is what I need. I don't know. We are at peak yapping hours. I am just not making any sense, I don't think. And I feel like at one point, you know, down the line, when hopefully this podcast is a little bit better and more well structured, I'll eventually look back at this and hopefully understand what I was trying to say, or I'm just going to be like, okay, well, Joemer, you did another session where you just didn't know what you were talking about. And I feel like I never really know what I'm talking about. I feel like my life was filled with just failing a lot, and I am I am 16 episodes in, and I still feel like I'm failing at this podcast. I feel like I'm not entertaining enough, or I don't have enough topics, or I don't have enough questions, and I constantly default to productivity and self-improvement because that's what I know that I'm passionate about that, so I just talk about it. And I don't really know what else to chat about. And maybe that's okay. Like, maybe it's okay to not have a plan and to just kind of speak whatever is on my mind and to just breathe. Like, honestly, I feel like now I just want to play games and I want to just like relax and do my own thing. But I have to at least push, I think that's what I'm trying to do. Like, even though my brain is telling me one thing, I'm trying to untangle the earphones, or what are they called? Headphones? No. Earphones. Yeah, like wired earphones, yeah. I feel like I'm trying to untangle those, and I'm trying to rewire my brain so that I just get used to it, and I'm just waiting to be used to it. I feel like I've been on TikTok a little bit too much recently. I've been feeling like I've just been going on, like I've been doom scrolling a bit. Like, it's just kind of this cycle where like I'm trying to fill the time a little bit, and so I'll like go through this like cycle of things to entertain my brain in small goldfish attention span ways. Like, I'll check my messages, and then after I check my messages, I'll go on TikTok, and then after TikTok, I'll like go and read manga. I just kind of like go in a circle a little bit. And I have to break it somehow. Obviously, I could throw my phone at the window or out the window. At the window works too. Breaking my phone works. That's great. But I don't think that's gonna work. And I'm really bad at working at cafes. It's just never worked for me. I don't like cafes. I feel like the chairs are too uncomfortable, and I don't leave my house a lot, so if I go to a cafe, it makes me feel like I need to stay at the cafe longer than an hour in order to get my money's worth, especially if I spend money there. It's like, okay, like, I should get the same amount of productive hours, but it just never has made me feel like more productive to work at a cafe. I've never been a person to enjoy like the aesthetic environment of a cafe. It doesn't really do anything for me. And I think part of it is because I don't drink coffee, so I'm not a part of the whole ecosystem. It's kind of like how if you're not in the Apple ecosystem, then you just don't get it. Like, personally, I had an Android for the longest time, and I switched to iPhone like 3 years ago, and it's like there are so many things that I still don't understand with Apple, in the same way, like, and with iPhones, in the same way that I don't understand cafes, and I don't understand why people go there and stay so long, especially like with the chairs. Like, some people stay in cafes for like 3-4 hours, and I just don't get it. Like, I feel like it's so uncomfortable to sit there for so long, and then it just feels so small too, like to just be on a laptop or whatever. I can kind of understand it if you're like writing a paper, but at least for me, like, I've always operated on like 2 screens and stuff, and I feel like a laptop is too small, or maybe it just feels that way. I don't know. Maybe I should give it another try. But it just feels like I wouldn't go out of my way. Like, I wouldn't, on a Saturday morning, I wouldn't wake up and go straight to a cafe and just start working on stuff. And maybe that's my problem. Maybe I maybe I yeah, maybe I need to change my environment too. Or I need to be better at just like shutting things off and not focusing on what I'm doing on my computer when I'm working on like projects. I think I have a system. I have a scheduling system. I think it's working. I just have to be more consistent about everything. Starting next week, I will be doing my new schedule, which I've been creating for the past 2 days. And I'm going to try my best to stick to it. The schedule is very flexible, and it should feel good. And I think the important thing to remember, and with any schedule that you create too, is just try to enjoy the process. Try to enjoy making an effort and putting progress into things, and take the time to cherish all of the small victories that you have. I think that I'm not doing that enough, and that's probably why I'm beating myself up over things. Like, I should really be telling myself that I'm proud of myself for working hard through the day, or doing my best through the day, and that I did my best, and that I'm doing my best right now, and I'm trying to work hard for it. I'm trying to work hard for the things that I want. It's just, it doesn't fit in my brain, you know what I mean? Like, it feels so corny. It feels so corny, and it feels so fake to say, like, I'm proud of myself when I don't feel proud of myself. And lots of people don't feel proud of, themselves, so it's just hard to have that type of acknowledgement, at least the way I am. I'm sure that there are people that are used to having, like, a more confident ego in themselves, but I personally can't give myself a pat on the back. It just doesn't feel right, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do if, you know, like, if I can't take compliments for myself, then, you know, then there's something wrong with my brain. I mean, there's not something wrong with my brain. Obviously, I grew up in an Asian household, so you know, compliments were far and none, and, you know, it was kind of a desert when it came to compliments, to be honest. So I feel like I have to compliment myself more. I need to be more positive, and I need to, like, accept rewards, like, in my head. I need to, like, change my feedback reward system, so that if I tell myself that I did well today, then I did well. But yeah. Some people are in the chat. Welcome everyone. What's up, Milk? Milk says, make sure to drink your milk. I guess everyone make sure to drink your milk. That's cool. Zohab says, long time no see. And yeah, long time no see. Hi. We started a podcast. It is episode 16. Usually I go for like 30 minutes, and I answer any questions towards the end, or I try to at least acknowledge the people that came by, because I appreciate everybody. But yeah, it's going well so far. I usually just talk about my day and some things maybe that I learned, but yeah, I think that's probably going to be the I think that's the format that I'm going to go with from now on, at least for a little bit of while. I think that I need to do better at words of affirmation for myself, and I need to do better at complimenting myself, and also realizing what I did well for the day. So I think that I'm going to kind of frame things every episode to talk about what I learned today, or something that I'm really proud about doing today. Something that I did good today. I will talk about the one good thing I did every single day, or at least try to, every podcast. Was I live coding? I was not live coding. I don't live code anymore as much. I used to live code for like 6 hours straight, and I don't mind, like, I still don't mind coding for 6 hours straight. I still do it a lot of times, but uh, I just felt bad kind of live stream coding and having an inconsistent schedule. I felt bad because, like, I just didn't have a I just don't have the type of life where I can schedule 6 hours out of my day to focus on live streaming, and then sometimes I'll live stream for an hour and I'll feel bad because some people join in for the long sessions. So I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit what about the app that you're building? Yeah, I'm still building it. I'm still building and I'm still coding. I'm still a developer. So yeah, I'm still building everything. Sorry. Yeah, this is very out of the podcast format at this point. Like, I'm just kind of answering topics or comments. But I think YouTube made it in a way where, like, you can see the live stream chat, so hopefully I'm making better sense, or maybe I should repeat the questions every time. But yeah, so the app is still being worked on. I'm still working on things, and I'm trying to take things one at a time. The podcast is meant to be here so that I can kind of still share my presence and also share my own thoughts on things and kind of get me through things on a day-by-day basis, or as much as I can. Sometimes I'm not able to make the podcast, but I try to be as consistent or show up as many days as I can. Pretty much the rule is, if I'm home, if I'm at my desk and it's not 12 o'clock, I should make a podcast episode. So I have to make more rules like that. Hopefully hopefully I do better about like scheduling stuff. So anyway, I think I'm out of topics again. I'm really tired, so I don't find myself being as creative. I would tell you now, do the podcast in the live stream. I am doing the podcast in the live stream. This is the podcast. So yeah. We will keep doing the podcasts. We'll keep going. Leaving you guys on a good note and some good advice for the people that like to skip to the end. What did we talk about today? Yeah, so my advice is, if you find that you are not doing work until a deadline, or you're waiting until the last minute in order to do your work, then it is highly likely that you are using negative emotions as your motivation for doing things, and you're using your primitive fight or flight in order to do things. And you do things when you get those chemicals like cortisol and like that give you stress and make you feel like you have to push for things, and that's negative in the long run. And so my advice for you is to try and think about more positive forms of motivation. Try to think about the life that you want. Think about what you want to do for you or your family, and all the things that you want to buy, and all the things that'll make your life better, from a butler to a waiter to a new table to a new chair to a new computer. And try to visualize those things to motivate you in a positive way, so that you're pushing yourself to go after things, and it's not fueled by having to have problems in your life. But yeah, thank you guys for sorry, I was reading the comments. Yeah, I don't know what format works best. I don't know what format works best for podcasts, but I'm gonna figure it out. But yeah, maybe live streams aren't the way to go, and I should like post videos and stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for coming. I will figure out formats. I appreciate you guys for coming, and just keep on moving along. We'll keep creating videos, and we'll see how it goes. Until next time, appreciate you guys for coming. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and I will see you the next podcast episode or the next video that I make.